Certainly not a day for fun and games from our weather authority. Let's go straight to James Spann right now. James, we are still under a tornado watch.
We are, and again, Pam, we have severe storms approaching the Alabama-Mississippi border. What you see here, this is not severe. These are rain showers passing through Birmingham. Want to focus on this storm in extreme eastern Mississippi. This storm has come through Scuba, Mississippi, along US 45, and that is now approaching the point where Pickens County's Alabama Highway 17 makes the long run here from York up to Aliceville. And again, right in this region, we have had multiple reports of what could be a large, significant tornado down that has been coming through the eastern part of Mississippi. Again, this is north of Scuba, and the National Weather Service in Birmingham more than likely will be issuing a tornado warning soon for parts of Pickens and Sumter. We are in a real-time chat session with the Weather Service in Birmingham. They're going to watch this for one more scan to see if it maintains its strength. The air mass over Alabama is a little more stable compared to the air mass across the state line. But again, if over the next scan, the next volume scan, if the strength and structure is maintained, the Weather Service will be posting a tornado warning. They have not as of yet, but again, we'll know that in about 5 minutes. Now, out in the field, let's take a live shot coming from our Benchmark Jeep Storm Chaser. This is Brian Peters and Brian, West Alabama, and I can tell from that beautiful shot that is downtown Fayette, Alabama. It's the Fayette County Courthouse.
Absolutely, James, and we've got a really strong southerly wind. Don't have a good flag in the image to show you that, but we have a very good brisk southerly wind, and temperatures for early February are certainly above where we typically think of them at this time of year. We're seeing temperatures in the low 70s, so there's a good deal of low-level warmth for these storms to feed off. But as you mentioned, the atmosphere not quite as unstable here as it is just across the state line.
Yeah, and again, Brian, the storm that we are watching that is about to cross into Alabama will be coming up through Pickens County and then ultimately in your direction. We're in a case today in Alabama where the dynamics are excellent. The wind fields are strong. The thermodynamics are a little iffy at this point, and the big question is, can the thermodynamics catch up and ultimately affect us with severe weather tonight? It's going to be a close call, but you're clearly where the action will be over there. That's going to be the side of the state that western side will be concerned about for at least the next 4 or 5 hours.
Absolutely, James, and that's why we're here, trying to bring the best pictures we can of what's going on.
All right, and again, Brian will be live, and you can watch Brian's live stream on our website, abc3340.com, if you choose to do that. That stream is up and available, and Brian will be out in the chaser tonight. So let's go back to the graphic system. We'll put this behind me. And again, if you're just joining us, we are so close to having a tornado warning for extreme West Alabama. If you've got something planned for the next few hours, okay, we now have a tornado warning that is in effect for Sumter and Pickens counties until 5:30. So we will put on the polygon here. We'll take off the radar data. The first thing we like to do is show you who is in and who is out. And let me just say, first off, if you're in Sumter County, this affects only a very small part of the county. The far northwestern corner, north of the community of Geiger. This has nothing to do with York or Livingston or Cuba. This is the far northern end of Sumter County. And then in Pickens County, this is Pickensville here. This is Aliceville. Carrollton is here. So you can see that Aliceville and Carrollton is clearly in the polygon. Let's expand this out. We'll look at the US 82 corridor, and this will include US 82, including Reform and Gordo. So if you were in Aliceville, Carrollton, Pickensville, Reform, Gordo, you are now under a tornado warning. This does not include any part of Tuscaloosa County. Tuscaloosa County is the next county over here to the west, of course. And again, Brian Peters is up here in Fayette County, and he'll be pretty close to the path of this storm. But this storm has produced a number of visuals passing north of Scuba, Mississippi. I don't know of any specific damage at this point. We're also on the chat session with the National Weather Service in Jackson. But for a while, we had a well-defined TDS with this, a tornado debris signature. And again, that is a sign that debris was being lofted from this storm. So I want to go to the high-resolution radar. This is going to be a different look. We're going to go from that to this. This is velocity. And again, that is a very strong velocity couplet here. we have seen this very, very steady over the course of the last 30 minutes coming through eastern Mississippi. And again, this thing passing just north of the community of Scuba, which is here along U.S. Highway 45. And that is going to enter the Alabama-Mississippi state line basically right at the border of Sumter and Pickens County. So a very good velocity couplet. Let's go back to the main graphic system. And again, this is the first of a number of storms that will be affecting West Alabama. And that is the initial concern. Those of you in the western third of the state, if you are in central or east Alabama, your primary threat comes later. So if you've got some type of activity this evening that you're planning, if you're in Birmingham, you should be okay. No severe weather expected in Birmingham for a few hours. But really, after 6 or 7 o'clock, we could begin to see some severe storms, maybe as far east as Interstate 65. So again, the reason we are here, and again, we apologize for having to interrupt our Focus at 4 news program. We have a tornado warning in effect. This is until 4:45 this afternoon for the far northern part of Sumter County and the core, the central core of Pickens County. And again, Carrollton, this is the county seat. Aliceville here, this is Pickensville by the Lock and Dam. This is US 82. Reform is here, and Gordo is right here. So if you're in any of these communities, you know the drill. And hopefully you've thought about this over the weekend. This event has been forecast pretty well for days. In fact, Alabama was put in a severe weather risk 5 days ago by the Storm Prediction Center for today. But obviously, number one, no mobile homes. That's the worst place you can be during a tornado. If you're listening to this by radio, we advise you to stop at a gas station, convenience store, any site-built structure, and just go inside and wait until this thing passes. And if you're in a mobile home, you need to leave and go to your shelter just as soon as you can. We often cannot give you a lot of lead time, but if you're up here in Reform, Gordo, Carrollton, you've got probably 20 minutes. But I would go and go through your action plan now. If you are in a site-built home, we want you on the lowest floor of the house, near the center, away from windows, in a small room, a hall closet or a bathroom, and preferably in that safe spot, you've got a kit of readiness items like helmets for everybody, a bicycle helmet, a batting helmet. That makes you so much safer, and that's for adults, not just kids. We like for people to have whistles or air horns if you need help. The first responders have been trained to listen for that. And hard-sole shoes. Being barefooted, that will not work. Having to walk over a tornado debris field, especially at night where you can't see things. So again, the reason we are here, this is a tornado warning. And let's expand this out, Charles. Just want to give you an idea. If this thing holds together, and we don't know that, the environment over Alabama not quite as ripe as Mississippi. If that keeps on moving northeast, it's going to wind up in Fayette County. And again, Bryan Peters is located right here. So this is the trajectory of that storm. More than likely, this will not affect the city of Tuscaloosa, the city of Northport, or the campus of the University of Alabama. This will affect areas just west of there. But keep in mind, other storms could possibly form during the course of the next few hours. And again, we stress what you see over here in Birmingham, in the Birmingham Metro, up in Blount County. These are showers. They're not severe. So conditions are relatively ripe over there on that western side of the state. And again, if we got Brian's shot, I'd like to take that. Again, Brian is kind of in the path of this thing. Brian, you've been monitoring all this throughout the afternoon. Tell us about the environmental conditions there in downtown Fayette and what you expect to happen there. And I think we have lost Brian. So again,
James, we've got reports of damage on the EMCC, which is East Mississippi Community College. Some trees down and some buildings, some structures damaged. That's right there in Scuba as it went into that southeast corner there of Noxubee County. So that same storm now is about to cross the state line, and that's what we're watching.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, Charles Daniel is kind of a veteran of the East Mississippi severe weather wars over the years. Charles worked in Meridian, so this is home turf to you, and we've had so many storms over the years come through that zone.
And, you know, this, I think they've had eyes on this. I think chasers have had eyes on this, so we know it's a pretty serious situation. But as this crosses over Paulette, Cooksville, the folks in Cochran, Memphis, you need to be in that safe place. Dancy, right now. This is not a time to just wait this one out. Again, you need to be in your safe place immediately. And with this, we have confirmed reports of damage. I was trying to track it down. I had one report, and I'm trying to confirm it, but it's from a spotter network that perhaps some folks were trapped either in a vehicle, their trees fell, and they're trapped in their vehicle. I don't know if the tree hit the vehicle or they hit the tree. So that's what I was trying to follow up on. But we do have confirmed report of damage in Scuba. which is the EMCC, or East Mississippi Community College there. That's very popular.
How many folks are in attendance there, you think, on a normal day like today? How many people will be on campus?
A couple of thousand at least. It's not a huge school, but a lot of people use that. They go there for 1 or 2 years, and then they either go to Ole Miss or Mississippi State, or you know, they head south, that other school down there, not going to mention. But yeah, it's a pretty popular school there, especially in this area. A lot of folks use that to get their first 2 years out of school at a good price. So I'd say 2,000 to 3,000 people at least on campus at any one time.
Right, and again, we are monitoring the various chat sessions, including the chat session coming from the National Weather Service in Jackson, watching the damage reports coming in. And I don't know if you passed this one along. At 4:24, a student from OU, now I would assume this is a chase team from the University of Oklahoma, called to report a tornado near the Alabama-Mississippi state line that would be north of Geiger. So again,
that's northern Sumter County,
right,
there.
The far, far, far northern Sumter County, part of Sumter County here. So we have had multiple reports that there's been a tornado down with this. And again, we stress that if you are in this polygon, and you know, we've heard us say this many times over the years, respect the polygon. It simply means this: if you're in this thing, do something now. And if you're not, you don't have to do anything. Just kind of keep an eye on things. And again, this is the storm of concern. This is the Alabama-Mississippi state line. And again, this is the part of Pickens County under the warning. You got Aliceville here. Carrollton is up the road. Everybody in Aliceville, Carrollton, Pickensville, Reform, and Gordo should be in a safe place. We would not want anybody now driving along Alabama Highway 17. That is the main north-south highway through Pickens County, in fact, through that far western part of Alabama. And really, a major U.S. thoroughfare here is US 82. I know that the University of Alabama is playing Mississippi State University in Starkville at Humphrey Coliseum tonight, meaning we probably have some students and maybe others coming from Tuscaloosa over to Starkville. That's not a long drive, and if you are on that route, we advise you to stop. We don't want anybody traveling on US 82 now from Gordo all the way over to Coalfire and Ethelsville. All right, so that's the situation now. And again, you're looking at some of the images coming in from social media. These are images captured near the Alabama-Mississippi state line. I believe that's US Highway 45, and you can see a lowering there, and it's hard to tell from some of these videos if that is a tornado down, but it certainly could be. That for sure is a wall cloud. A late report coming from the National Weather Service in Birmingham. The North Sumter Fire Unit is reporting a funnel cloud. They can't confirm if it's on the ground near Alabama Highway 17 and Mount Tabor Road a few minutes ago. So again, the latest report coming from the Weather Service in Birmingham, potential for a funnel cloud, and it might be down. You know, there's a lot of trees, and you just can't see sometimes, but one way or the other, that is in extreme northern Sumter County, near Alabama Highway 17 and Mount Tabor Road. That was a few minutes ago. So again, we're getting multiple reports, and again, here's another report. An experienced storm chaser from OU reported a large tornado near the Alabama-Mississippi state line southwest of Cochran about 10 minutes ago. This is the Base Hunters guys on Twitter, and they're pretty good.
That's got to be that rotation right beside you, crossing the state line right now.
Yeah, in fact, if we can change back to the high-resolution radar, put that behind me, again, that is a very, very tight circulation on radar. That, quite frankly, is one of the tightest circulation signatures we have seen. And again, that is a very strong indication of a tornado on the Alabama-Mississippi state line. Right here, that is a screaming tight velocity couplet. And that is moving northeast. And again, obviously, you've got the community of Aliceville right here. So if you are in Aliceville or close to Aliceville, you should be in a safe place now. Don't wait. Don't sit around and watch for this. We don't want people going outside and looking for it. You need to understand that multiple people have seen this down. We have multiple good, valid reports that a large tornado is down, and you simply need to take action now. So if you are in, again, any of these communities up here in the Polygon Warning in Pickens County, Aliceville, Carrollton, Carrollton, Reform, Gordo, Pickensville. Anybody close to those communities, you want to be in a safe place right now until this passes. This is moving along at a fairly good clip, and again, it should be out of the county probably in about 45 minutes. The warning technically is in effect until 4:45. It will probably extend beyond that if this continues. But watch, you can see the circulation is actually tightened here in the last volume scan, and this is data coming from the Weather Service radar up in Columbus, Mississippi. At this stage of the game, we typically look at storms from two directions, from the north, from Columbus, and from the east, from the Birmingham next red site. But the one thing we stress, the radar beam goes in a straight line. The Earth curves, so the radar beam several thousand feet off the ground out here. So we don't know for sure if this is down unless we get visual reports, and we have had multiple visual reports on this. And again, if one of you in the back maybe can text Brian and see if we can get Brian back on the phone with us. Brian is driving now. He's moving the storm chaser, and we're going to talk with him. I want to talk about the environmental conditions. Brian is going to intercept this storm. He's coming down from Fayette down toward Gordo, so he will be in a position. And understand, you know, a lot of people say, well, you tell people don't drive, and yet your guy's driving. Brian has trained over 10,000 storm spotters. Brian was the warning coordination meteorologist for the National Weather Service in Birmingham for years, and he knows what he's doing. Many of the men and women that you see in the field, they've been trained for 10, 12, 15 years or longer, and they know how to stay safe. Most of you have not been trained, and that's why we don't want anybody out doing storm spotting unless you have been trained. So, again, this is the velocity couplet. And let's go back to the larger radar. This will be kind of a larger view of this whole thing. And the storm, for reference, from Birmingham, this is about 75 miles west-southwest of Birmingham. If you are in the Birmingham metro, this will not be affecting you. It's pouring rain over here on the eastern side of the metro now, but that is not a severe storm. Tropical downpours, it's coming down. There could be some temporary flooding issues here. We got some pretty good showers falling in parts of Calhoun and Etowah counties over here. But again, the prime conditions for tornadoes are on this far western side of the state now, and the conditions will slowly shift eastward with time. I think the main tornado threat will be on the western side of the state this evening. Later tonight, everything shifts toward more of a straight line wind threat with the long squall line coming in. Now, you could see a small tornado with that, but more than likely the greatest threat will be from strong straight line winds later tonight. Now, in the field, we have Brian Peters in the Benchmark Jeep Storm Chaser. Brian, tell us exactly where you are and what you've got.
I'm a little southwest of Fayette on Alabama 159. Looking to try to intercept that storm that's coming across the line, but intercept it in a position that would keep me safe.
Right. And, Brian, you have access to the data and the same basically feeds that we have, and you've done this many, many times. And I did explain that you've done this before and you're very safe out there, but we do encourage people. It's a different situation if you've not been trained. You don't have any business being a car unless you do what you do.
Well, I hope so. We're planning on it that way anyway, James. Trying to find a spot right now where I could be at a higher vantage point and be able to look over the trees, but that's a little bit of a problem.
Right, and let me just pass this along as we're watching here. We now have a report from a unit south of Aliceville on Woodbridge Road. They are reporting debris and a tornado down. So again, that increases the serious nature. We now have a report that there's a tornado visible from the Sumter-Pickens County line on Highway 17. It is a, quote, large tornado from the person looking at this.
Most likely that's that little notch right there just west of Cochran.
Right. You see that little, the bounded weak echo region is right in through here. This is the inflow notch. And again, more than likely, the tornado is going to be back in this region here, moving northeast. And again, this is clearly a very dangerous, life-threatening storm. One to take very seriously. So if you are in the communities we've called out, you've had plenty of time to do something. You should be in your safe place now. And again, a reminder, we know that people, when they go into this safe place, they don't want to get disconnected from us. And you can watch our live stream multiple ways on web browsers, on the 3340 all-in-one app. There's so many ways of doing that. Now, what the Weather Service has done, they have canceled the warning for Sumter simply because the storm has moved out of Sumter County, and the warning will continue for Fayette County until 5:30. That is the expiration time now. So a confirmed tornado is 7 miles, well, let me rephrase that, 8 miles west of Aliceville, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. And again, this is a storm with multiple visuals. People have been looking at this. And again, this will continue moving northeast. Now, it could be the greatest danger might be a little west of Aliceville, but goodness gracious, I would not take any chances. If you live in the city limits of Aliceville, you need to be in a safe place right now. Let me go back to the high-resolution radar. We're going to bounce back between the two. This is the velocity display, and again, that is an extremely tight couplet you see right here. And again, this is Aliceville. That's a large tornado. This is moving probably in this direction here. It will be close or passing maybe just west of Aliceville. But again, I stress, please hear me when I say this. If we say it might pass a little west of Aliceville, that doesn't mean that you're clear and free. If you live in the city limits of Aliceville, you should be in a safe place now. And ultimately, this will be coming up toward Carrollton. Carrollton is the county seat. Highway 17 runs from Aliceville up to Carrollton. Obviously, nobody should be traveling along Highway 17 right now. And again, this is a very, very tight velocity couplet with multiple reports of a tornado down. There's been some damage in Mississippi with this storm. We have had reports of debris southwest of Aliceville in this particular location around Woodbridge Road. And with all of the reports we're getting from this, it is obviously the urgency for people that's in the polygon here to do something about it. You can see Pickensville. This is where the Lock and Dam, the big welcome center, is located, that beautiful facility if you've been there before. If you're in Pickensville or close to it, same thing. More than likely, the tornado is going to stay a little east here of maybe the Lock and Dam, but still, you're close enough to stay in a safe place right now. So Aliceville here, Pickensville here, large tornado here moving northeast. Everybody in the city limits of Aliceville should be in a safe place. Everybody in the city limits of Carrollton should be in a safe place. And then ultimately up the road, this will be affecting Reform and Gordo along U.S. Highway 82. We encourage no driving along U.S. Highway 82 at this point. And again, as we are watching more reports coming in, I got some images I'll show you. Let's go back to the radar, for the big radar behind me. And yeah, the couplet really looks impressive. And I do want to show some images coming in that we're getting now through social media. And again, thank you for everybody. We can't show all the images, but goodness, we can see them in real time. And your images can basically help us. It is our window to the world. And it looks like, Charles, you got a pretty good delta there in excess of 125 knots.
130, yeah, about 130. If I get closer, I'm sure it'll be higher. You know, there's a small town there just northwest of Aliceville, McMullen, and I think this is headed right for them. This couplet is headed in that direction, and I'm thinking we get 87 on 51, so we're looking in excess of about 130 miles an hour easy, gate-to-gate shear here, and that's right where that notch is located. You see that now the velocity scans are always a little bit behind the reflectivity scans.
Let's take the weather iPad source. You're going to see an image of this thing. If we can put that behind me, this is the source that the radar would be on. All right, this is from the community of Dancy. Dancy is up there near the northern end of Sumter County. And again, this confirms everything else that we have seen on a consistent basis in the last hour in terms of the reports. This apparently is what could be a relatively large tornado here. And again, this is a sparsely populated part of our state. That's not to take away from the importance of these warnings. It doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter if 5 people live in a county. We'll be there for that. I'm just saying that to indicate we're not going to get a lot of reports when there's a sparsely populated area being affected by these things. But this is just to let you know that this is the really strong potential for what could be a very significant tornado that is on the ground in Pickens County in far west Alabama, and wanted to show some damage while we're looking at this in real time. This is some damage coming in from Scuba, Mississippi. Let's go back to this, and again, it looks like that is a mobile home that has been flipped on its side. And again, this is from obviously what could be a tornado here. So again, this is a storm to take seriously. The damage in Scuba, Mississippi from this storm occurred probably about 40 minutes ago. So again, that is a very significant storm that we're watching. So we'll go back to the radar, and we're going to bounce back and forth, but certainly this is going to be a...
this is going to be crossing over 14 right now. It's got to be.
It's very close to Highway 14. Highway 14 runs up through Aliceville, and again, you can see this inflow not back in the back, and obviously from Brooksville back up to Pickinsville, and obviously, part of the storm. And again, the possible tornado is back in there. You can see that very strong should be crossing Highway 14, if not now, at any minute. Right, and that is what's called a TDS, a tornado debris signature. What happens, the radar looks at all of the returned echoes in a bin, and if it sees some echoes that don't correlate with the other ones, it kind of puts a negative value. Instead of raindrops or hydrometeors, this is debris being lofted. Parts of buildings, parts of trees, and things like that. So, again, it's a storm. In fact, let me put the velocity back on here. We have seen the again, you're looking at the velocity display. What should be a large tornado is passing just to the west of Aliceville, but it's very close to Aliceville. And again, everybody in Aliceville, you should have been in your tornado safe place for about 30 minutes. We've got on the other side, this is a live shot coming from Brian Peters, and I don't think we have Brian on the line. Brian, okay, Brian, tell us where you are.
I'm about 8 miles southwest of Fayette on 159, and the storm that you're talking about is actually just a little to the right of my view, out the camera view that you're seeing. The problem is trying to find a proper hilltop without any trees. That's the big problem.
I'm sorry, Brian, tell me your location again. I was multitasking here.
Okay, I'm about 8 miles southwest of Fayette.
Okay.
On Highway 59.
Okay.
159. I'm sorry, 159.
Right. And again, boy, I'm looking at the velocity images coming in, and this thing is just a very monstrous signature here, Brian. And obviously from Brian's camera, we're not going to be able to see much at this point. Now, the storm is moving right up in Brian's direction, and Brian's probably going to shift down toward Gordo. But Brian, I would keep on going south down toward Pickens so you get a little chance to see this thing here. Again, Brian is in our Benchmark Jeep Storm Chaser, and we appreciate his service today and everybody that's out in the field. And again, thanks to everybody for taking the time to send the images that we have seen today. We've seen a number of images that are suggesting that this could be a very significant tornado that has been down. In fact, let's go back to that image one more time. Wanted to show this in case you missed it. This is coming from far northern Sumter County, and again, that obviously is this tornado that is very close to Aliceville now. I would imagine that we probably have a storm like this, maybe larger, that is near or just west of Aliceville, moving northeast. And understand, the next largest community in the path of this will be Carrollton. Carrollton is the county seat, the courthouse, the face in the window. Many of you have been there before, and we encourage everybody in Aliceville, Carrollton, Pickinsville, do not wait, do not go look in the front yard. You know, it's a human thing. We want to go see this before we do anything. Don't play that game. A lot of times tornadoes can be rain wrapped, and understand a lot of times we cannot see a tornado because of that. And of course, with all the hills and the trees we have, just understand that is a problem. So any additional reports over there, Charles, coming from the Weather Service? I'm
not seeing anything right now. We've had numerous reports. There's got to be, I would say, half a dozen storm chasers in and around this thing. This is, we've got seasoned storm chasers out here that have confirmed this. These guys know what they're doing. They know where to put themselves to keep themselves out of harm's way. The biggest problem I think we're going to see is that this is most likely going to be rain wrapped, and sometimes you won't be able to see it every time. And of course, with the trees, that limits our visibility. But anywhere just northwest of Aliceville is you're under the gun right now. Saps to Carrollton, Lois Spring, you need to be in that safe place immediately. Beavertown, at this point in time, there's a little creek actually called Beaver Creek, and it's crossing over that right now. And McMullen, you need to be in that safe place. So again, we've had eyes on this. We know it's touched down. We know it's caused damage, the history of damage all the way back into Mississippi, all the way back to East Mississippi Community College there. And it's moving about 40 to 45 miles an hour, and that's a pretty good clip. You won't have much time to react, so we're telling you now, this is the time. We know it's made a touchdown. You need to get to that safe place. as soon as you can. But the good news, I'm going to give this all clear if you're back there in Cochrane, southern parts of Pickens County. If you're south of Cochrane, along Highway 17 there, northern parts of Sumter County, you are in the clear. I know a lot of folks always wait in their safe place before they hear that. They've got the TV up really loud. If you are in Cochrane or areas south along Highway 17 there, you are in the clear. If you're in Aliceville, you need to be in your safe place. Stay there a little while longer. Folks in Memphis should be moving out for you. You should be okay at this point, but don't venture outside yet. If you are in Saps, Beavertown to Carrollton, you need to be in that safe place right now. This just coming in on the Weather Service chat, confirmed visual just off Highway 17 north of Aliceville there, just north of Aliceville, and it's moving up 114 now. So that is from the National Weather Service chat that there is a chaser with a visual on this tornado. And again, not going to be easy to see. The terrain doesn't lend itself to good chasing out here. And these guys that are out there are seasoned veterans. So please don't try to go out there and chase today.
I'm still watching the tornado debris signature.
Yeah. And again, the velocity that we've seen on this has been pretty impressive. In excess of about 130, I think, miles an hour. And
yeah, in fact, let me show you this thing,
hot
Charles.
Spots there.
Let's flip over to the high-res radar. You see this thing right here?
Bigger, yeah.
Yeah, that is a large area of lofted debris. The way radar works, it sends out electromagnetic pulses, and part of the energy will bounce off targets, whether it's a tree, a raindrop, the ground, and part of the energy comes back to the radar within seconds. And again, with the dual products and this particular product here, it can determine if there's something different about the echoes. They're not hailstone drops. This is different, and again, evidence this is a very large tornado that continues moving northeast. And again, you can see that there's a decent chance the core of this is a little west of Aliceville, but we're not giving Aliceville an all clear yet. We want you to stay in your safe place for about 10 more minutes. But obviously, the next great concern up here is Carrollton, which is the county seat of Pickens County. And again, you can see on that latest volume scan, the correlation coefficient is still just very, very strong. It's right here. This is debris being lofted. So in a matter of minutes, we can give Aliceville an all clear. Not ready to do that just yet. A lot of people have Aliceville addresses, live out in the country, and they might be 10 miles out of town. So we're not ready to say Aliceville all clear. We'll do that in just a little bit. But again, obviously, if you're in Carrollton, you better be in a safe place right now. I mean, right now. You should have been there 30 minutes ago. So this will be a violent tornado in an hour or so. And again, multiple visuals on this. And this is a pretty sparsely populated part of the state, but we don't want you going out in your front yard looking for this. If you live down here, we want you to be in a safe place. There's a lot of trained people that can go look for this. We don't need you to do that. We simply need you to be safe. Take you and your family and get into a small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. Put as many walls between you and the tornado as you can. Hard sole shoes, whistles, helmets, a portable air horn if you have one in that safe place. Please do not be in a car. And again, we will be able to give an all clear for Highway 14 here in a matter of minutes. But obviously, nobody should be traveling on a Highway 14 at this point. And let's go back to the velocity display. And again, that is a very strong indication of a tornado coming right up toward Carrollton. So let's go back to the main graphics system. We're bouncing back between the two, and you can see this is a very well wrapped up system. Again, that particular signature right there might be a debris ball. You can see the inflow notch here moving up in this direction. Highway 17, this is Highway 17 here. This runs from Carrollton down to Aliceville. And ultimately, what's going to happen with this storm, it's going to be crossing a major U.S. highway. US 82 is a major thoroughfare from Tuscaloosa over to Columbus and Starkville. And again, tonight, unfortunately, the University of Alabama is playing at Mississippi State. So you've got a lot of basketball fans traveling from Tuscaloosa to Starkville. That's not a long drive. It's only a little over an hour. But if you're listening to us, and Charles, what you got? Weather Service BMX is now, they're declaring a tornado emergency for Carrollton right now. Okay. They have a large tornado confirmed on the ground headed towards north of Aliceville. And they do have it confirmed per spotter video. So the Weather Service has declared a tornado emergency for Carrollton. All right, this is a tornado emergency for the city of Carrollton, Alabama. Wendell, you're in the shot. I'm sorry. We have a tornado emergency now for the city of Carrollton, Alabama. This is declared by the National Weather Service in Birmingham. And this is... We don't want people not to take tornado warnings seriously. All tornado warnings are serious, but whenever a tornado emergency is issued, that is based on multiple reports of people seeing what more than likely is a large tornado down. And again, and the tornado debris signature showing you there is a large tornado in Knoxville. In fact, let's go back. Let me show you the image of what this thing looks like. This is an image of this tornado when it came through the community of Dancy up there in the far northern part of Sumter County. And again, that is what is coming through Pickens County now. And it could be larger than that now. Maybe smaller. The thing with radar, we don't know what's down here unless you're looking at it. That's why these social media pictures are just so important. So again, that's a large tornado that is now in Pickens County approaching the city of Carrollton. And because of the images we've seen like this and the tornado debris signature, we now have a tornado emergency being declared for the city of Carrollton, Alabama. Carrollton is about 40 miles west of the city of Tuscaloosa. This will not affect Tuscaloosa. This will not affect Northport. But again, that is a tornado emergency for the city of Carrollton. The Weather Service, in the text of their warning, is calling this a confirmed large and destructive tornado that's moving northeast at 45. Everybody in Carrollton should be in your safe place now. Okay, don't wait on this. Don't go look for it. We will give you some pictures later, but if you live in the city of Carrollton...
James, is really coming around quick.
Yeah, let's go back to the graphic system. And again, we're going to show you multiple images, but this is a very wrapped up storm that is showing a clear hook. This is the...
I'll go back. There you go.
That's the hook, and that's the tornado indication right there. Air wrapping into this, and again, this is coming right back up toward Carrollton. This is very close to Carrollton right now. I mean, it's coming up on the south side of town.
Gate to gate on this is about 140 miles, so get those velocity data coming in again about miles an hour. There's 69 on, so you're looking at about 130 right there. So this very tight rotation, strong rotation, moving through the Saps community, headed towards Carrollton now. And again, a tornado emergency has been declared, so you need to be in your safe place at this moment. Don't wait, go there now, and take the phone with you, turn the TV up as loud as it'll go. We'll let you know when it's all clear, but at this point in time, you need to be in that safe place immediately.
Right, and a couple of things to think about. There's some school of thought somewhere back in the back of our mind we're thinking, I've got to drive and get out of here. Don't even think about that. A car is a death trap during a tornado, so you can't get in a car and drive anywhere. That's not working. If you're in a site-built structure in Carrollton, all you got to do is get down to the lowest floor. If you got just one floor, that's all you need. Small room, near the center and away from windows, and you're good and safe. Now, we're going to take about a 10-second break to roll the 5 o'clock news open, and we're going to keep on going here. We are not stopping. ABC 3340 News at 5 o'clock starts right now.
ABC 3340 News starts now with a severe weather alert.
Right, we are in the middle of a tornado emergency for Pickens. Tornado emergency at county seat. We have a large tornado that is coming right up on downtown Carrollton. This is Highway 18 that runs down to Aliceville. Again, that's the inflow notch. This storm has had a history producing in parts of Mississippi. Multiple visuals on this. In fact, if we can, let me go back to the image. If you're just joining us here at the top of the newscast, this is what this thing looks like. Pickens County up, and this could be larger now. And stay just as